what's going on? What's up? How's it? Aloha. Welcome to Culturized. It is me, Makani. This is the space that we get together and we talk about culture, whether it's native, whether it's social, whether it's ethnic. I just truly believe that the culture, whatever it is, your culture is, if we understand a little bit about everybody else, we'll just get along a little bit better. And also a space where if you've always wanted to learn about something and you just didn't really know where to go, I brought my friends with me who are cultured people. And today I'm really excited. Now, the guest I have on today, I want to say how long we've known each other, but then you're going to know how old we are. Let me just say this. When we talk about culture, we know, being from Hawaii, a lot of our local people, a lot of our Hawaiians have left and moved to the continent, moved all over, and of course to the ninth island in Vegas, but we're everywhere. Now, the question is always, how do we keep the culture that we grew up with us, living away from the islands? And I say the king of keeping culture together, keeping it alive wherever he goes, is the CEO, the president, the guy in charge of the Vizzun Canoe, Shawn Santana. How are you, brother? Man, it's been some time.
It's been some time. I mean, it seems like it wasn't too long ago, but if you really look at it, it was long, you know what I mean? But time flies as you get older.
First of all, I gotta say mahalo for making time, because I know that right now you're actually preparing for one of the Pure Aloha festivals that you do, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, you're in Vegas right now.
Correct. I'm in Vegas. Weather's perfect right now. It's like
no way.
Set 80s, low 80s. It's like right now's the time.
How long have you been in Vegas?
Moved there in '98. Never been off the Hawaii Islands, straight from Maui to Vegas. And I was always told this was a desert. And, you know, my vision of desert was rat, you know what I mean? Like on TV, was it Rat Patrol? The one that was all the sand. So I thought when I landed, I would just see all sand, desert sand. I was wrong.
It was,
and then I thought Vegas only consisted of casinos and you know, and hotels. I was wrong. I seen parks. I seen actual families. I seen people with dogs. It was actually real place that real people live.
Now, the crazy thing is, you were like the first wave, like even before the first wave of people moving to Vegas. But before that, though, I want to talk about what high school you went.
I went 3 high schools.
No way.
I'm in Radford. I'm actually originally from Honolulu. I grew up in Kaneohe, then I moved to Aloha, then I moved to Haile Maile in Maui. So I've been pretty much 2 of the 3 schools in Maui.
But which is good, because I always say the more places you go, the more culture, the more, you know, the more knowledge you have. So fair to say, Oahu Maui boy. See, I see you as a Maui boy.
I rep Maui because I feel that's what instilled the culture, because, you know, growing up in Honolulu, at the beach bus, all this kind of fast pace. So you really didn't know, from Honolulu, I really didn't know much culture.
Right.
Paddle canoe like that for the high school. But I mean, when I went Maui, I mean, I don't know if you know Haile Maile. Haile Maile is like, you're putting on the e-brake, like you're going on a fast sports car and you're going, just slam the e-brake and be like, whoa, what just happened?
Right.
It was a bad and a good thing, because being from Honolulu, I stood out. Honolulu boy. I actually had to learn how to dance because they also like to dance.
It's funny, right?
I started a dance group, you know?
I remember that. That's right.
We called Blueprints, and it was pretty good, actually.
You was one dancer. Like,
I wasn't, but I had to learn to be one.
Somebody's got to have video or pictures of that.
I have a video on my Facebook of me and my dance crew. I mean, I have a picture of my dance crew. This was like, and my kids, they go, which one is you, Dad? The one with the mullet. It was cool back then. It was cool back then. You know what I mean? Now I was like, wow, really, Dad?
The mullet, Maui boy. Okay, so when you because you graduated and then you decided, when did you decide to go to Vegas? What was it?
8 years after I graduated. I bring out years,
right?
I can show my age, but yeah, I mean, it was my ex-wife at that time. She's really close to her mom. Her mom, they remarried. Her husband moved here to work. He was a project manager for a big construction company, and she wanted to follow her mom. And being the young person I was in love, I followed too, and it was the hardest thing for me to do. because in Maui, you get in your car, you drive down the street, you're showing shakas all the way down the street, you pass each other showing shakas. Come Vegas, I don't think I showed shaka once for the first couple of years. I don't even think I still show shaka to anybody. You don't see anybody, like.
Because and that's the thing, and a lot of people don't realize, people that move to Vegas now, they still kind of feel at home. But when you moved in '98, there was just howlies. There was it
was tough. There wasn't as much as now. I mean, like everywhere you go, I mean, there's local people. I mean, sorry, but yeah, it was tough. I had to reestablish myself. I landed. I was sleeping. My father-in-law woke me up and said, "I got you a job." Wow. I was a journeyman painter at the time. Took me straight, the kind of Walmart, buy hard hat, boots. Started working from the next day I landed. I've been working ever since. And I will say that Vegas has brought opportunities to me and has done more for me than I could ever imagine.
Okay.
I would never know or think I would be where I'm at today. Never even dreamed it.
Hold that thought, because I like that your transition from Maui to Vegas. If you're joining us, this is Culturized. We're sitting with Shawn Santana, CEO, president, and lead canoe paddler, steersman of the Pure Aloha Vizzun Entertainment. Right? We're going to come back right here on Culturized.
Bringing you what matters. Viewers can receive the Star Advertiser Digital Full Access subscription for just $9.95 per month. Go to staradvertiser.com and click on subscribe. Use the code AHAITHING. For all your money needs, Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union is here for you. Visit HIFICU.com.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to Culturized. My name is Makani. I'm sitting with Shawn Santana via. You gotta love Zoom. So I don't really like Zoom, but when it's times like this, because I really, really wanted to get him on the show. We haven't seen each other in a while. We're talking about Vegas. He was one of the first waves of local people from Hawaii and Hawaiians to go to Vegas. And like we just said, he was there. If you move to Vegas now, you can find poi. When he moved to Vegas, right? You couldn't even find another brown person.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story. I actually went to this place. It said pasteles on the window.
Uh-huh.
I roll up. I said, "You guys get pasteles," and I did not know that in Spanish, Mexican, it means pastry. I was so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh my God!" Lesson learned, man. Like total transition. The things you thought you. It's insane.
And it's funny though, because they look at you and they automatically think, oh, here's some Spanish Mexican guy, and then they look at your last name, even worse, and then you're looking at them like, I have no idea.
And, hey, at some point you start getting angry. I'm not Spanish Mexican. I mean, everybody just speaking Spanish. It's like, but now that I think about it, I mean, everybody in Hawaii look like they're Mexican.
Right.
They have some sort of it, but I mean, like, I cannot hate on them anymore. I just like, no Espanol, bro, Hawaiiano,
See, and that's, I want to transition into this. So you were there, and you went, from Haile Maile to Kihei, to the Strip, to the Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
And I remember, and this is how Maui Shawn was, you guys. He had, was it a F-150? 250?
F350, the silver one.
He had a F350 sitting on, like, nobody made
20-inch lift, 44-inch swampers.
It was straight Maui truck in Vegas, and that's when you knew, okay, local boys are here. But what are the things you did? How did you make that transition? You went straight to work at the Rio. You were a painter, but was there a time when you were like, I miss home, I miss Maui?
Oh, from the first day I landed, I missed home, because I mean, like, in Maui, I knew so much people. I knew everybody. Mm-hmm. You need something. You need when your car worked on.
Right.
You need on TV. You need whatever. I knew everybody. It was difficult, because it's like taking me. Maybe I've experienced it before when I used to move from place to place and start, different schools. I mean, like, I was the one sitting in the library during lunchtime. I was ashamed. I'm not nobody. I mean, I've been through that growing up, because I probably went to maybe 3-4 different elementary schools. So, I mean, it was like that, like from knowing people to knowing nobody, and just learning their way of life. You know what I mean? Just, it was different. I mean, I did at the point where I was going to end up fighting with employees. I was listening to the only time they play Hawaiian radio in Vegas was only on Saturday. And it's 2-hour windows. So if everybody listens, I turn the radio. But I turn them back. But I like scrap. You know what I mean? They like call cops.
Whose show was that? Was that the Vala'o brothers?
Yeah, it was them. No, Sister Dory.
Oh, that's right.
Island Emery.
Island. Okay, so what you would listen to
The Little
radio?
Grass Shack it was called.
That's right. And they're still doing it now. What are the things you said earlier? You know, you tried to adapt to Vegas life, but at what point were you like, you know what? No way. I'm gonna bring Hawaii life, Maui life to Vegas. When did you say, you know what? I gotta feel at home. What is that?
It was like I was disconnected. I love Hawaiian reggae. I love Hawaiian music. Being from Maui, you listen to all the ukulele jams. You know, more cultural music. You're singing along, drinking beer. So I mean, that's what I was used to, and didn't have that here. There was Lolly's, a little bar, little hole in the wall, which was, I mean, I look back now, it's like I don't even believe I would wash my hands before I eat. That place was like, wow, scary. But but I was homesick. I missed the music, and I just was like, hey, you know what? I mean, we should really do concerts. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, bring the Hawaiian. There's so much Hawaiians here. And everybody's like, yeah, bring them. We're gonna show up, and you bring them, and nobody show up.
So, if you're joining us, welcome to Culturize. What we want to do, we're sitting with Shawn Santana. We're going to talk about how he created the biggest local Hawaii event, not only in Vegas, but outside. Even if you brought Pure Aloha to Hawaii like you did, it's going to be huge. So we're going to talk about that transition of how he created, just by the thought of, I love music, I miss home. And we're going to fast forward and how huge Pure Aloha festivals have got. And we're going to talk about how that happened. So all you local people in Vegas right now, we're going to give you what it was like to move to Vegas years ago, right here on Culturized.
Ashley is America's #1 furniture store. We have everything you need for your home. Let the experts at King Windward help you out of your current loan or lease and into a new vehicle. Visit kingwindwardnissan.com.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Culturize. It is me, Makani. I'm excited because not only do I get to talk to the president, CEO, and the main guy behind Vizzun Entertainment and Pure Aloha Festivals, but most importantly, my good friend. From the island of Maui, by way of Oahu, but he ended up in the mid-90s in Vegas. And a lot of you, if you're watching online right now on YouTube, I want to know your Vegas story. Comment down below. If you're watching us on TV, thank you so much for doing that. If you're listening on our audio podcast, get in touch with us. But we're talking about this transition and how do you keep culture alive? When you move from Hawaii and you love the culture so much, but we have to go because a lot of people are doing that. What do you do? And like I say, local people that are moving to Vegas now, you got it a little bit easy. Shawn Santana, you loved music, you loved the Hawaii lifestyle, but you were living in Las Vegas. And you decided, what was the first concert? You said, I'm going to throw a concert. And as we say in Hawaii, frickers, you never show up.
Yeah.
What was the first first thing you did?
Lessons, and everybody's your friend when you're having on concert. People you don't even know is your family. Like, wow, we related for real.
What was it? But, what's the first thing you did? Was it what did you call it, Pure Aloha, or was it just like
big Hawaiian bash?
Oh, that's right.
Big Hawaiian bash. Was it Baba B? Was it Tree Plus? Your brother,
Lanai was there.
I did, and then there was several other. Was Tree Plus, Baba B?
That's right.
Several other ones, and not long after that, we did the Kapena Jam.
I remember that. Now, because when you threw the first one, how did you even do it? I'm always amazed at your connections and your drive. Like, did you just?
I'm willing to risk it. I take risks. I mean, I'm a risk taker. I mean, if you're not taking risks, you're not living life. And not all of the risks was very successful. Believe me, I've had times where I like, why am I doing this to myself, punishing myself? But you won't get anywhere unless you take a risk. And the only way you find out is by taking the risk. And it was risky, sacrificed a lot of sacrifice. I mean, like the times, like I don't even know why I'm still doing it to myself, but I keep going. You know how it is. You wake up, you like the night before you sleep is like, I'm never doing this again. Why I punish myself? Next morning, bro, hell no, I'm gonna do this again. Momentum is going again.
Because the pressure, though, that's what I'm amazed at too, is that the pressure you handle is not only in running the business, but you were saying earlier, like you pretty much retired from your 9 to 5 at the Rio, and Vizzun.
21 years I've been there. I was there.
And Vizzun is bread and butter. That's the world. When you created these concerts, when was the first? Now it transitioned into Pure Aloha, right?
Yes, I was given an opportunity by by Jonathan Swain, who was the GM at Palace Station. We were doing this karaoke thing at one of their bars inside Palace Station, and we mentioned to them that that I wanted to do like a festival someday. I saw Lady, I was like, there's the only one going on. I mean, I wanted to do what they were doing, and there was an opportunity that arose that they were doing a concert, and he said, "This is really crazy." So he said, "This is opportunity, that festival you're talking about. We want to help you do it, but this is the date you have to do it on." And lo and behold, it was the exact same weekend as Lady, which has been the longest run.
Really?
Exact same weekend. And I mean, if I had said no, my life would be different right now. And I took it, and I had 20 vendors, about 2,000 attendees, total attendees. And I'm driving over to Lady, checking out their event. They're sending scouts over to my event, checking out my event.
Such a Hawaii thing.
So much animosity. People hated me. Like, people don't know that they thought I did it to make trouble. Like, I wanted to that kind, but it was. I'm not a troublemaker.
You had to work with what they gave you.
I had no choice. Yeah. Like I said, if I had not said yes, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I mean, that's one of those things that when people hear the story, just people look at me like, "Oh, this punky. Why would he do that? Why would he try and split the people?" And I have vendors. I mean, like they're having two booths, one over there, one at my place, and it was something I had to deal with for a while. People, talking smack like I'm a punk, right? But then when they hear the story, then they realize, oh wow, we didn't know that.
Because even there was even more to it, because of the fact that people are thinking this one thing about you, but the more the pressure, because there wasn't a big Hawaiian community in Vegas at the time.
No.
So more they were like, how's this guy? But I truly think it was. In hindsight, it was a perfect thing, because yes, you had Lady, which was very, the Hawaiian music, and then here you come with hitting the younger generation.
Right.
Think about this. I want to talk about it in the coming up in the next section. When you first started doing your concerts, and especially Pure Aloha, what was it like for the non-local crowd? Did you get a lot of non-local crowd coming? Like, who is these new brown people coming to Vegas, and what are they doing? Hold that thought. So if you're joining us on Culturized, if you've ever been to a Pure Aloha festival in Vegas or anywhere, comment down below. Tell me what year it was and how you liked it. Or tell Shawn not to ever stop doing this. Right? So thanks a lot for joining us right here on Culturized.
Culturized, brought to you by Beachside Roofing, the leaders. Elevate your home's exterior to a whole nother level with Windows Hawaii low maintenance, energy efficient select siding. Call 808-671-0808 today. Ridgel Kent Insurance, protecting your legacy.
Hey, what's up? How's it? Aloha. Welcome to Culturized. It is me, Makani. Real quick, I got to thank my friend some Kapa Kava for getting me in the mood to sit here and talk story with my friends online right now. I wish you could be here in person, which would mean they would have sent me to Vegas. We have to do it this way. But of course, you can
send me back home. I don't mind that.
Well, but of course, I work for that guy Lanai, so he just said, "Stay here."
Look like you coming. Yeah, you can stay there.
Sitting with Shawn Santana, Pure Aloha Festivals, Vizzun Entertainment. Fair to say, 20 plus years already of Vizzun, right?
Yes, it's next year's going to be my 20th annual spring event. It should have been this year, but COVID set us back a year or so.
That's so crazy. I
mean, 19 years of doing this. It doesn't even seem like it was that long, but I mean,
I know.
To be honest with you, I don't even realize the impact of what I've done until I watch videos like it's on my feed or something. I'm like, I get all emotional because I don't look at myself that way. I don't, and I don't realize what I've done.
Well, because it's amazing, because not only, okay, so if you guys are just joining us, if you've never been to a Pure Aloha festival, imagine a local concert, reggae music, Hawaiian music, all the biggest bands, but at the same time, there's a carnival going on. There's a Ferris wheel. And there's food. But I want to go back to my question. When you first started doing these, what was it like in Vegas for the non-Hawaii crowd? Were they like, who is this guy? What is going on? Or did they even come?
I mean, for the concerts, I didn't see much of the non-Hawaiians, the non people, from the Hawaiian people. But when I got into the festivals, that's when you're seeing the big diversity. I mean, I think the majority of the crowd was non-Hawaiians, which I love them. I market to them.
Yeah.
Because they appreciate culture.
I know.
They're not
Because they're not asking you for
Complaining about
tickets.
the shit by $6. Like, bro, I can go back on $2 probably. How much I'm paying fair? I mean, like, I understand where they're coming from, but the non-Hawaiians, they love everything about it. They're in awe. They've never been to Hawaii. They got the realize that made them want to actually experience Hawaii. So Hawaii Visitors Bureau, please come. I mean, hit me up, send me.
See that? Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's yes, the mindset was right. You missed home. You knew other people missed home. You want to do an event for those people, but I think at the same time, you actually almost single-handedly introduced the local Hawaii culture to Las Vegas.
You're right. I now that thinking about it, yeah. I mean, like, because there's tons of people that go to Hawaii because of the festival.
Yeah, I mean,
they experienced it. They're like, wow, this is awesome. And they all go to Hawaii. I said, don't go to Honolulu, go to Maui.
yeah, I know. I always tell people the less cement, the better.
Yeah,
of course, we're both biased, right?
They go. They always have a good time. They enjoy themselves. I mean, it's insane. It's crazy.
How did you come up with the name Pure Aloha?
I asked myself the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was just thinking one day, and I was like, Pure and Aloha.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back, like, how strong this name is. The branding of it is like, it's everywhere. I mean, I gotta be calling people daily, like I'm trying to trademark infringe the thing. I have the trademark on the clothing. They're like, it's a dispensary, but you cannot have Pure Aloha on anything that's a clothing or a hat. They're like, really? We checked. I said, yeah, you can.
Wow.
I mean, it's.
I'm amazed at, well, I'm always amazed at you because you were very business minded. I like the fact that you're taking all these local concepts, but you're actually turning it into a business, like you said. If you're joining us, this is Culturized. We're sitting with Shawn Santana. We're talking about how to keep culture alive, how to take your culture when you have to move somewhere. A lot of people are doing it today, and some people just go, they'll move to Vegas or they'll move to California, and they'll just adapt to where they're going. But Shawn Santana has created not only a business, but in his personal life, in his family, that they keep the Hawaii culture alive and well. Can you hang out with me for a little while more, because I want to talk more.
I got all day for you.
We're going to talk more about Pure Aloha. So again, comment down below if you have any questions about what's coming up as far as events go. If you're in Vegas and you don't know where to find poi or Hawaiian sun juice, I'll tell you where Shawn lives. You can go.
It's every corner now, not hard to find.
Right. So again, this is Culturized. This is where we get to talk and share culture. We're talking with Shawn Santana, president of Vizzun Entertainment. Another thing I want you to think about is I love the fact that you took vision and turned it into helping the community. Stay close. It's Culturized. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to Culturized. If you're on YouTube, this is our extended version. Thank you so much for joining us. We are sitting with Shawn Santana, the president, CEO of Vizzun Entertainment, Pure Aloha Festivals. Today's topic, we're talking about, I don't know how many years, but local people from Hawaii, Native Hawaiians, have been moving to Vegas, moving to the continent, moving all over the mainland. But Vegas, of course, is the hot spot. And Shawn Santana was he's the first wave of local people to move from Maui to Vegas. But we talked about earlier the transition you made, and I love it because I see you as somebody that was like, listen, I'm in a new environment, and I miss home and I miss the things about home. Not a lot of people would see that and go, well, let me create something for my family and my friends that'll make me feel at home, right? And then I also see it as, from that you transitioned into, I trip out on how many people depend on you for culture, right? First of all, how heavy is that for you? Like we joked about it earlier, like you cannot stop doing this.
I was talking about that too.
the responsibility, the kuleana that you have, that you created with Pure Aloha and Vizzun Entertainment. Do you see not stopping, or do you see retiring?
Generation to generation. I mean, like I've said, I've had some management restructuring lately, and at times, like, I won't be able to do it without these people, but I said, I will do this thing, whether if I'm the only one selling tickets, with security, if I got to perform. This Pure Aloha will go on for generations to come. I don't foresee it ending. I don't want it to. But to be honest with you, I mean, like, it has, the stories I get, I've got people that got met at Pure Aloha, got married, had families. Wanting to move back, came to Pure Aloha, decided not to move back. It's it's moving. I don't realize the impact that I'm doing or have done. I don't even think about it because I love doing what I do, and it's just natural to me.
And it's funny because there's Pure Aloha 2030 standing right next to you. They're gonna.
I hope I would love to. I hope.
Your kids next to you. Your kids next to you are gonna carry it on. I always like to joke about this. I always say it's funny because when you created the Pure Aloha Festival, look, see, you're the next CEO right there.
He's yelling at people at the event and telling them, "Watch out, move the car." He's like directing traffic. He's yelling. It's crazy.
He get his own golf cart already.
He get his own golf cart. He's like, he get his own radio too. I gotta kick the radio in.
So speaking of which, the funny thing is, I always like to joke about this, and we joke about it all the time because Pure Aloha festivals when and then you're in parking lots. What was the biggest number of people you had at one time?
This last event, October, over 50,000 people.
Really?
The parking lot was I had to close the parking lot down. I mean, it was so bad where, like when I closed the parking lot down, they were coming in like ants every corner of the fences, throwing strollers and babies over the freaking fence. I'm not lying to you. This is
local people being local people.
This is true. I swear to God, it's insane. I was like, what is happening? It was crazy, but it was exciting to know, like, wow, what's happening?
Because I remember somebody calling me. Actually, not so. This is the funny thing with our relationship with Pure Aloha, and again, mahalo. I will always forever mahalo you for letting me be a part of it and emceeing. But it's funny because even that I'm not there anymore. Every Pure Aloha that comes around, you know my phone rings. My phone. I'm like, what do you guys call? I cannot do nothing. I cannot do nothing.
$10 to get in. Come on, guys.
But even that, it's like, you guys, I'm in Hawaii. I haven't emceed Pure Aloha in like 10 years. And they're like, oh, but you can get tickets. I'm like, yeah, $10. Pull $10 out and go pay and get your tickets. It always amazes me. So this last one was funny because there were so much people. I remember some friends and family and just calling me going, bruh, Pure Aloha is closed. No more. They're not letting anybody in. You know anybody that can get us in? I'm like, you should have got your tickets a lot earlier. 50,000 people.
It was insane.
And you're still doing it today with carnival rides, concerts,
it's bigger.
food.
It's, you know what? I mean, I never could imagine how big it has come. I mean, to be honest, you can't stop growth. But I was happy when it was smaller. People think this guy must be making millions of dollars. He's so rich. But to be honest, the bigger you grow, the more expenses, the more headaches. Mm-hmm. And I'm making probably the same or less money now. You know what I mean? But you cannot say we're only allowing 2,000 people in, and that's it. You cannot prevent. Growth is going to happen regardless. It's continued to grow every single event. I've never ever gone back in attendance. Mm-hmm. But from the pandemic, from the last event, it was like the growth jumped like 20%, 25% more attendance. And this next one coming up, I expect 65,000 attendees.
Where's this one going to be?
It's a Craig Ranch Park. It's 170 acres. It used to be a golf course. It's the only place I think that can accommodate the growth and the size of this event. And today it's in North Las Vegas. North Las Vegas has this stigma as a bad area, but this place has the nicest park. They love us. They said we brought the biggest event to that place ever, and it's been there like 15 years. We brought the most people, but she said not just that, but you brought the most. Everybody was happy. Like nobody mad. They waited 2 hours and they were happy. They were leaving. They were happy. They weren't burning rubber. She said your crowd is the most amazing crowd. They waited 2 hours, but they're still happy to be there.
See, I'm surprised it's not at a point where you're going to now have different towns and if you don't have already, different towns and different cities calling you going, can you bring something to our community? Because that's what you're doing. You're bringing, like you just said, the golf course wasn't a really good area, but you just made the area good. How many Pure Alohas do you have in 1 year?
I have my spring and my fall. We just had the fall event, so I created the fall event because everybody's like, "Wow, they made a whole another year for the Pure Aloha." They say, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna do two then." Because which people get their fix.
It started with one, right?
Yeah, 5 years later, I added the second one.
And that is another thing that why I think you're brilliant because of that. It's like you had one, and then not a lot of people can make it to that one. It's like, hey, we'll go throw one in another time. And you pick the best seasons of them all, and you put on these concerts, and now you're creating something I was totally stoked about, and I was totally blown away. The last time I emceed, you created this give back. Like you were giving back to the community. You created a foundation. Did you have as a foundation?
I have a 501c3 nonprofit, the Pure Law Community Development Corporation, because I enjoy to give. I like helping. I rather give than receive. That's just my culture. And you know, I mean, everybody's like, well, people are like in business. People's like, you know, there's a lot of benefits you can get by being a nonprofit. You're doing all these things, and you're not reaping the benefits. So I started a nonprofit, which now I do see the benefits. It allows me to give more, and you know, I mean, giving me a lot more avenues where I can give back and then help people and help the community. So I created I had a Shawn Santana Visionary Scholarship where we do $5,000, $10,000 scholarships, and it's totally like I made it so simple where your GPA has to be like 2.3, not 4.0, because there's people that's not that smart that they want to go to college. I mean, I know the struggle.
Yeah.
So I made it simple, but all they have to do is just focus on something to do with culture. Any culture, African doesn't matter. Just culturally related. 2.3 GPA, and we do $2,500, and I don't even get involved. So it's not. You know what I mean? I'm not choosing people I know. So they do everything. They screen them all out and everything. Public School Foundation.
Again,
something like it.
The brilliance of you, because I remember that was, I think the last time I emceed was when you first started, and I was like, I was totally blown away that you were giving these scholarships away, and it wasn't, and it's so refreshing because, like you just said, because you know when we was in high school, we was like, I'm not gonna go on scholarship, no way, freak that.
And I'm a good grade.
I only make GPA just so I can play sports, right? And nobody looked at that. Nobody was like, oh, you know, we're gonna give these guys some. And you did it. And I remember being in Vegas at the time on stage, and I'm looking at these scholarship candidates going, bro, this is the coolest thing ever. This is the coolest. And which tells me, and we're going to go all the way back around to the concept of pure aloha, right? For someone on the mainland, on the continent, somebody away from home, and you've been away from home, if somebody from Hawaii that was younger and have never met you, they would probably think you still live in Haile Maile.
Probably. I try, like everybody else, you know, like we go to the mainland, when you're around local people, boom, the local come out. You're not even trying, it just, boom, comes out. But when I'm around white people, they're like, wow, you talk so Hawaii, but it's just like, you know when to transition. Look, you know,
yeah,
you're in the industry, so you know the transition, it happens naturally.
But for you, like your consistency is, I think people need to see that. People don't realize the consistency and the hard work that you put in to doing the things you do, because you know, we both know there's some people that have come in and tried to do concerts here and there and do events. It's just they want it doesn't happen. But you know, like we talked about earlier, you could throw your first one, nobody shows up. But look, 20 plus years later, you got 65,000 people that's going to be coming to a Pure Aloha festival that you built even in competition to another guy.
I mean, I'm like the last man standing. It seems like, I'm sad that the other ones aren't around, but I mean, like I was able to adapt with change, you know what I mean, and still hang on to the culture. So the other ones, they weren't willing to change, you know what I mean? So it was people need change. You gotta evolve with time. I mean, you gotta, regardless of whatever you do. I mean, but yet I still hang on to the culture. I never want to lose the culture. And then with that said, I mean, my thing is, you know what I mean? Like culture is music. I mean, Polynesians still have the culture because of music and dance. And that's why our culture is so strong. You take the music and dance out of our culture, we would like non-exist, like everybody else, just drift away.
So I like to, as we slowly wrap up, again, if you're joining us on Culturized, comment down below. I want to know your experience if you've ever went to a Pure Aloha festival, because I always joke, you know how many kids were made during Pure Aloha festivals? We'll get into that later.
People got divorced at Pure Aloha?
And that too. But Shawn Santana has been doing great things and continues to do great things for the local community, not only in Hawaii, but in Las Vegas and all throughout the continent. So comment down below if you've ever had I want to hear a great Pure Aloha Festival story from you. If you're listening via podcast audio wise, thank you for doing that. We got to thank Kappa Kava. We got to thank 3 Pico for my t-shirts. And of course, Shawn, brother, thank you so much for making time.
Mahalo.
I know you got one coming up. So twice a year, Pure Aloha festivals, Vizzun Entertainment, go see them. What's the website?
Pure Aloha Festivals with an S.com.
Mm-hmm.
And or VIZZUN.com. So they both lead to the same place.
And 2 weeks prior to any festival, stop calling me. Everybody wants tickets. Everybody
wants the Comedy Show a month after that, so they might be calling you for that too.
Wait, so what you got coming up?
Tomua's comedy show.
Oh, that's right.
I doing him. Yeah, now you brought up it to contact me, but I could not believe. I mean, they told me that he was going to sell tickets, and I was like, yeah, I've been doing this a long time in Vegas because I know you guys. They went. I mean, I'll never ever question them again because tickets was insane. But I mean, like, I cannot believe the amount of tickets were sold in the first 2 days. I mean, the first half hour. I mean, this guy is doing big things. I mean, and like I always support. I'll always promote. I'll always be there for the Hawaiian culture, the Hawaiian people, and always be there for them and help promote the music by means of it. However, you know what I mean, out here in the mainland.
Shawn Santana, mahalo, brother. Pure Aloha, Vizzun Entertainment. I like to call this guy the curator of culture in Las Vegas. We'll talk soon, brother. Thank you very much for joining us. Aloha.